T.B.Photo X1.5 to FX, and welcome back to another video. Well, this is just going to be a little bit of a, what should we say, update, what has happened past week in photography and so on. First of all, yesterday evening, the local, what should we call it, the local photography club, Uppsala Fotografiska Sällskap, picture here of their logo, but anyway, they had an open darkroom, which meant that they have so their members can actually go and develop their film rolls, be it C41 or black and white, and basically you can, if you remember, you have access to the darkroom. But also, yesterday they actually had it for new people who want to check it out, or probably maybe potentially become new members or something. Pick your wording there. But anyway, I went, and there were really a bunch of guys there, varying. The age span was quite varied, which is good in my book. But also people that really cared for film photography, and they showed a heap of different tips, tricks, techniques and so on in the darkroom, how to develop, how to print and so on. One guy was really into, you know, both doing cyanotype and all sorts of bleach processes, coloring processes, and even some processes where he implemented oil paints, which I think was quite extraordinary. So yeah, I think that's probably a little bit of a club I might be interested in becoming a member of in the future. Coffee. It's morning here, by the way. But anyway, a little bit of a new acquisition. Oh, also, I don't think I might have it. No. Okay, I'm back because actually a couple of weeks ago, or rather last weekend, when I went home to Gävle, I actually went to the C.C.Pub once again, and one of my biggest uses was this, as I've stated many times before, the Tokina AF 28-70 constant f2.8. Lens, and my previous video or my previous upload on this channel was about this little band here, Prins Svart, or Prins Black in English. This band is this kind of 70s hard rock, Zeppelin or Black Sabbath type band that played at the C.C.Pub. And yeah, they were actually quite good, and they're singing a little bit unusual. All of their texts were in Swedish, so the singer was singing in Swedish. So for you international viewers, yeah, that's nothing I can rule over. But anyway, when I looked up the band members, they had some really interesting CVs when it came to the guys that they have played with, and yeah, I think you should look it up yourself if you're into 70s and 80s hard rock music. But anyway, I bought their album, and the entire band signed it, so signed copy of the album. So that's a little bit of a neat memorabilia from that night. I also did still photography with the D7200, which I am currently editing, along with some other things. What I primarily went home for was the street market that had been for 3 days. It was going to go on for 3 days. It was basically food and drink from most of Europe and some other nations as well. It was a little bit half-baked in my opinion, and yeah, I tried to go and do some street shots from that street market, or that international street market, but it wasn't really what I had expected it to be. Excuse me. So anyway, I went to the C.C.Pub instead and looked and enjoyed Prins Black, or Prins Svart. So yeah, I would really recommend it if you can look him up, or you can just look a little bit about it in my previous video. I have a link in that one in the description to their Facebook page. But anyway, a little bit of a camera acquisition that I did on a whim actually. I looked at Tradera, which I have talked about many times before in my YouTube. There you can really find things when people don't really know what they are selling, or you know, and so on. I know that one of the most popular Nikon SLR cameras nowadays, if I haven't mistaken me too much, put it in the comment section below if you have a different opinion on this, so we might share them. That the most popular is the Nikon EM, because you have the EM 1, 2, 3, and so on. That it's not to be confused with the AM, which I have a copy of already, and it's mostly an aperture priority camera. But the FM is really interesting because it's a fully manual or fully mechanical shutter in it, so you don't really need to use a battery in it because the camera will always work on every shutter speed because it's mechanical. But there was this other camera that Nikon did that is a little bit, I wouldn't say forgotten, but it doesn't have the same cred that I think it deserves. First off, I want to show you this one. You have seen this one before, my Nikon F3. This is a beautiful camera. This was really made for the professional, and it was made for over 10 years. So, yeah. Brilliant piece of gear, in my opinion. Whoops. But anyway, I found the camera that I would actually want to call the F3.5 or the F3s. But Nikon didn't make one such a camera, did they? Well, kind of. This was kind of an experiment from Nikon that I think many people sort of wrote off in the beginning, but I would say that they did a little bit, you know, they didn't do it justice, and I think that now this one is a bit of a gem that should be as popular, in my opinion, as the FM, but it isn't, and it's the Nikon FA. And here I have it. I bought it actually without the motor winder. I only got the camera, but it was normally the FA is supposed to have a little bit of a grip on the side that you can actually take off the camera. So this one I got without that little grip, and the grip was very expensive, and the motor drive was very inexpensive, so I thought that, well, I just as well just get the motor drive. And it's a brilliant camera. I haven't used this with film yet, but it's a very interesting camera because this was Nikon's most advanced manual focus SLR camera, and it has some really innovative features when it came out. So you can see the heritage between the F3 and the FA. You can see that they have a little bit of the same. The F3, you can remove the pentaprism, you have, you know, interchangeable focusing screens and so on, but there is a lot of similarities also between them, but I'm not going to go, this is just going to be a little bit of a quick overview of the FA, and that my opinion at least states that the F3 and the FA, they are very comparable in quality and degree of professionalism, in my opinion. This was Nikon's first ever SLR camera, that had matrix metering. Normally, even the F3 has spot metering, and that's the only metering mode. This one has both spot metering and Nikon's proprietary and then actually very revolutionizing matrix metering. As I've understood it, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is something I have just been told. It might be right, it might be wrong. Put it in the description below if it is wrong or if it is true. That the matrix metering was actually invented for slide film, because the exposure latitude of slide film or E6 film is so narrow that you really have to nail exposure. And if you have different segments in the field of view that was metered differently, you can make an average exposure value and make a correct exposure. And that's when this camera came into the picture, so to speak, pun intended. Well, it has some really nice features for being not the flagship camera of the company at the time of its introduction. It has 2 stops, positive and negative exposure compensation. It goes from ISO or ASA/ISO 12 to 3200. So for that new T-Max film that has been fairly recently this year reintroduced, the T-Max 3200, you can use in this camera and it will meter just fine. And it has a lot of different modes compared to some other cameras. The F3 has aperture priority. This one has both manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, and program mode. So in some scenarios you can actually make this into a complete point and shoot. Yeah, anyway, I have the MD15 on this, the Motor Drive 15, which will make it go up to, as I've been told, 4.5 frames per second on continuous. Also, it runs on 8 AA batteries, and I'm using currently rechargeable AA batteries in this one. And that will make it so that the internal battery in the camera will actually be disconnected somewhat, and the entire metering system and so on will be run by the AA's. And also, if you look at the hot shoe of this camera, it has the connection system, so you can use TTL flash with this camera. What else was innovative with? You have the matrix metering. You can actually, with this little button here, change it between matrix metering and spot metering, because a lot of photographers at the time were skeptical of the new system and they wanted a way to bypass it and have tried and true, spot metering. But anyway, the camera also was revolutionary that it has a honeycomb titanium shutter system. So I don't know what kind of, I think it's some kind of Teflon coated system in most other Nikon SLR cameras, but this one was special because it had a honeycomb titanium shutter system. And I know that I think actually, or rather I shouldn't scratch that, I don't know, but I've been told that some of the FM series of cameras also have titanium shutters. But that's basically it. This is a little bit of an exposition. It was not supposed to be a rambling about this camera. But anyway, I think these two go together real nicely. They're both very high-end professional grade cameras from Nikon. Yeah. But anyway, that's a little bit of where I am today with photography and so on. Sorry for that little jump cut in the middle there. Yeah, I really enjoy this, and as stated before, Uppsala Fotografiska Sällskap, probably a little bit of a photo club that I would be interested in attending in the future. They were actually, they showed that they had a lot of courses when it came to, better your portraiture, or portrait photography, better your speed light photography, or rather workshops including speed light photography and so on. Really interesting stuff, and something that I might be into to develop my own photography style and so on, both digital and analog. and this club seems to have a lot of members that are interested in both digital and in film, and really the darkroom they had really well equipped indeed. But anyway, I think that's a little bit of it for me for now. This was just a little bit of a ramble or update video. I have a lot of images that I am currently editing in Lightroom that I want to, you know, do away with before I do any other bigger projects and so on, so they are finished and so on. But all in all, I think that's gonna be it for me. So yeah, I know there wasn't that much substance in this video, but it's a little bit of a compliment to the Prins Svart or Prins Black previous video, and a little bit of what has happened in my photography for the passing weeks and so on. But anyway, this is Tobias Bergström from T.B.Photo X 1.5 to FX. I'd like to see you guys in the next video. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care from now on. Bye. Need a haircut. Yeah.